Okay, I think it's recording now. Okay, welcome everybody to the first Monday night call of the whole year, which is super exciting, and it's my first Monday night call ever hosting by myself. So please give me some love if I stumble or anything like that, because it's kind of scary for me, but I know this is the best team ever, so you guys will be nice if I mess up. So anyway, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about getting into your back office, which is something that I've found super helpful for myself as I've just started to grow in my business. And these are some
Rex, you can use my tablet.
I'm going to mute everybody here. Okay. These are just the things that I do every month to make sure that my business continues to grow and that I'm not falling behind at all. And this is just what I have learned over the few months in the last year that I've been doing the Flex business. So before I get started into all the little techniques that I have, I wanted to start by saying I've been preparing for this call for about a week now. And every time I look at what people say about the back office is that they're always saying that your worth is not what your points in your back office are. You are not valued based on how many points you have in your back office. And of course, I believe that 100%. But I also believe that if we are going to grow in our business and if we are going to be good leaders and good sponsors and not just good recruiters, then we still need to be tracking these numbers to make sure that our people are taken care of, to make sure that people's subscriptions are turned on, that people are getting the most out of their investment with their products, that they are making sure that they are consistent with their products. And that is on us to make sure that we are providing good customer service for people so that we are making sure that people just love the products, because that's what matters first and foremost, is we want people to love the products and feel good on them and to get the most out of them. So if we aren't tracking the points in our back office, we are doing them a disservice because we might not know if they've fallen off the wagon, and we want to make sure that we are catching that if it happens. So that's kind of my first aside, and I'll probably mention that again because I think it's super important that we know that we are not valued based on that, but we still need to be tracking those numbers. So I guess first what I'm going to do, if you guys are all on your computers or if you're on your phone, pull up the back office with me, if you don't mind. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Just kind of listen along, and then later on when you watch this, or if you are telling somebody about it, you can tell them to have their back office handy. So I always have the back office just up on my phone. It's just one of the tabs on my internet that I can just refresh and see where I'm at. And I check it at least daily. I'm looking at it, which I think is super important. So we're going to go through just the dashboard. I know there's lots of stuff in the back office. There's lots of really good informational stuff on there. There's a lot of different videos and shareables and things like that, and those are really important too, and I really urge you to dig around there and see what you find. But we're going to go through the dashboard specifically today because that is what I have found to help grow my business by tracking the numbers. So if you're looking at your dashboard with me, the first little box that you're going to see is your subscription, and it'll either say on or off. And that should always be on if you are an ambassador and you are growing your business with Flex. Now, I know that some of us change our subscriptions each month. We add products, we take products away, and we can manipulate that, but it should always be on so that we know that our subscriptions are going to go through. We have to have 100 in point volume each month in order to be commission qualified. So in order to be commission qualified, we have to be ordering products. We have to have 100 in point volume so that we can make commission off of the people underneath us. And having our subscription on is a surefire way to know that you're going to be commission qualified. Underneath that on, it's going to say when the date is that it'll go through and what your personal volume is going to be with that order. You can adjust all of that in your account, but that's where it's going to say it. So some of this might be review for a lot of you, and there's a lot of new people sharing. So I'm going to go over every little thing in here with you. And if it's something that you already know, great, I'm glad it's a review. And if it's something that you don't know, I'm glad I'm going over it. So the on should always be on if you're growing a business, and it'll tell you what your personal volume is. Then when you scroll down, you're going to see a little orange number, and it'll say what your personal volume is for that month. If you haven't ordered products yet this month, it'll say 0, and that's okay, because if your order goes through, say, next week, and it is over 100, then you know you're going to be over 100 for the month. But that personal volume is not only The orange number is not only your products, that any customer underneath you, they add to your personal volume as well. So when you're at 100 in personal volume, you're commission qualified. Anything over 100 in personal volume, you start to get 15% back on, which is really exciting. And then as your personal volume grows, once you get up to 500, you start getting 25% back on all of that. So that's really exciting. That's something you want to kind of be looking at too. Because if you're close to that 500 and you can order just one more product to get yourself to 500, you basically get that product free. So that's something you want to be looking at in your back office as well, keeping tabs on where your point volume is for that, your personal volume is for that month, so you can add to it if you're right next to that next commission value. We're going to kind of gloss over really quick the points and rank because we're going to spend most of our time there, but then go into your new ambassadors section. So you'll scroll down, there's a number in blue, and it'll tell you how many new ambassadors you have that month. That is not only your new ambassadors, but anybody on your entire team. So what you can do there is track, and it'll break it down for you on the next page. It'll say how many you have had this month, so you can know, oh, I've gone silver again this month, or oh, I'm still a couple away from silver, or wherever you're at. And then it'll tell you overall how many your entire team have had joined so far. The nice thing about this, if you scroll down too, is you can see what level they are if they've joined, who they've joined under, what day they ordered, and then if their subscription is set up. The nice thing that Plexus has done for us is just this past November, they made sure that when people sign up, their subscriptions are automatically turned on, which is great because it wasn't like that before. And that was, at least to me, that was something that was a huge, not problem, but it just made it a little harder to make sure those were turned on. So now the convenience orders are automatically turned on and we don't have to worry about that as much, which is super, super nice. So I'm going to scroll back up and click my dashboard again. And then I'm going to go to points and rank up. So the first thing I want to say about the points and rank up is that starts over at 0 each month. So at the end of the month, it's at the highest it's going to be, and that's where you end for the month. And then the next month, it's at 0 again. And once people start ordering and their subscriptions start going through, you're going to see that number start growing again once those subscriptions go through. So this is where I spend a lot of my time looking to make sure that those are going through. So before I go through this, I'm going to kind of talk about what our end of the month checklist is. So every month, we've been in Plexus for a long time, or even just for a couple of months. At the end of the month, you'll see in your team page that they'll usually post like end of the month checklist. It's usually around the 28th, and they'll say, these are the things we want to make sure you have done this month. So I wrote those all down. I'm going to read off my notes real quick. So the end of the month checklist includes, do you have 100 in point volume? We just talked about that, right? So we want to make sure we're at 100 so that we're commission qualified. And then, does anybody on your team have an order that didn't go through? Does anyone on your team have between 50 and 99 in point volume or personal volume? So if you're looking, I'm going to kind of go over this really quick. If you look and you see somebody that has less than 100 in point volume, you will want to make sure you reach out to those people because that means that you will not get points for them that month. Now, people are not their points. People are people. People have their stories. People are important. But if we're looking at our commission, if they're under 99 in their personal volume, you're not going to get anything for them ordering that month. And since we are business owners and we want to take control and ownership of our business, we want to make sure that we are also looking at that in terms of for them and for us. So we need to be looking at that for sure. You want to see if you're close to 500 in personal volume because, again, if you are, you'll start getting 25% back rather than the 15% back. So you could order one more product or whatever you have to get to 500. You can look, are you close to a rank advancement? And you want to make sure that you've checked in with all of your level ones that month. Well, phew, if that's 28th and you've got all that to do, you're going to be scrambling. And I've learned that the hard way a couple of times, including last month, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never doing that again. So you want to make sure, and this is the point of this call, is the end of the month checklist is so good, and it's really important, but you need to be doing that throughout the month. So this is what I do. It's only the 7th, and I have looked at my points and calculated where I'm going to be at the end of the month 4 times. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm looking in there for myself. I'm looking in there for each of my business builders, and I'm sending them where they're going to be for the month too, so that they can know where they can end up at the end of the month and they can shoot for whatever goals that they have. Now, hopefully they are doing it on their own, but if they're newer, they might not be doing that yet. So I'm making sure I'm being a good leader, and I'm going through my team. I'm going through every single team underneath me to make sure that we're all on the same page. So I've already looked. I will have 100 in personal volume. My order hasn't gone through yet, but I will have 100 in personal volume, so I'll be commission qualified. I'm looking through, and rather than looking and printing off my back office and saying, these are the people that I do have subscriptions on, I'm writing down names of the people that don't have their subscriptions on, and I'm writing down the names of people that are between 50 and 99 in personal volume. And I'm doing that for each of my team members. And you can ask any of my business builders. I just sent a big message out yesterday, and they all got a list of, on the left, it was everybody that doesn't have their subscription on. On the right, these are the people that are between 0 and 99 in personal volume. And so that way, they can look at those names too, and we can together reach out to those people and make sure that we are following them. So I'm checking, I have 100 in point volume. I'm checking who doesn't have an order that's going to go through, whose subscriptions aren't on. If you look at that points and rank up, and you scroll down all the way to the bottom, it's going to have a huge list of your entire team. If you scroll all the way to the right, there's a little blue order status. If you click on that order, it should pull up what the person ordered, what the status is. If that, it might be blue, but if you click on it, it could say credit card declined. So you need to be making sure that all of those orders are actually going through. And you can do that if you scroll a little bit to the left. If they have a blue order next to their name or next to their subscription number, but they don't have any points reported for them on that. So hopefully you're looking at this with me. But if they don't have any points there, that means that they are not at 100 in personal volume. So those are the little intricacies you need to look at to make sure that people are actually counting towards your business that month. Okay, so let's go through this list together. So if you are a gold or below ambassador, you likely can keep everything on this same screen because everybody will most likely be a level 1 through 3, not necessarily. If you have levels 4s through 12s, you'll want to kind of go through each of these lists separately. But you can click on the third column over will say level. If you click level, it'll rank everybody between level 1 to level 3 and so on down the line. And then I scroll all the way to the right, and it might be crazy, but I look through and it's the 7th now. So anybody from the 8th on, I count how many people I have left in that column to go through. And that sounds like a lot of work, but that's why if you have a very large team, I definitely suggest clicking the 1 through 3 column, calculating how many people that are your levels 1 through 3 still have to go through. If you have 4s through 7s, you'll calculate your 4s through 7s that still have to go through. And you'll just tally mark how many you have so you can calculate what your points will be at the end of the month. So, like I said, it's the 7th. So I've gone through and I've counted how many people still have subscriptions that will go through. I have made a list of the people's names that do not have their subscriptions on, so I can say, no, I know this person's turned it off. It's been off for a few months. We talked to them a couple months ago, or hey, they usually have their subscription on. Why did they turn it off? Are they not liking their products? Have we followed up with them in a while? And then that way you can kind of guide your follow-ups throughout the month so that you can make sure that you're talking to the right people. Not only do you want to follow up with the people that you know are consistent, but you want to follow up with the people that are maybe not consistent that month, or maybe they turn their subscription off, to make sure that you are being a good sponsor and you're not just recruiting them and saying, have fun with your products, but you are recruiting them and you are walking them through the process. You're hand in hand with them walking with them through the process to make sure that they like their products and they're not just turning off their subscription and not telling you about it. So let me see. Is there anything that I missed? I feel like I jumped around a ton and it's only been like 15 minutes and I just said a bunch of different things. Does anybody really quick have any questions? Because I feel like I went fast. You can just throw them in the thing if you want. Silver, Rochelle, what do you mean by silver? You can unmute yourself. Is there a way to show what you are doing? I thought about that, and I don't know how I would have screen shared without showing you my entire back office. And I don't know if people typically do that, but I guess because you can't see names or anything from here, so I'll just kind of go through. Okay, so if you're on your dashboard with me and you're in points and rank up, you want to scroll all the way to the bottom where you have a whole list of your entire team. Are you guys there? Okay. Oh, Rochelle, that's what you meant. Really quick, before I go through what I'm doing, when you're checking on your whole team and you're writing down where they're at for points and you're seeing if they're close to a rank, for instance, if you see a couple people or see somebody that has 2 people underneath them and they only need 1 more person to get to silver, you have found out for them, hey, you're only 1 away from silver. What can we do to get you to silver this month? Do you have anybody we can help reach out to? And you can kind of guide them through that process of getting 1 more person on your team. And I mean, even if you have somebody close to gold, if you have somebody close to senior gold, if you're helping them calculate those points and you're seeing like, hey, you are at 200 points and you have a few people here that are at partial PVs, or you have a few people that didn't order this month. Do you think they'd want to try another product? Do you think they'd want to add something to their regimen that they haven't thought of before? Did you tell them that when they get to 100 in personal volume, they start getting 15% back on their products? I don't think I touched on that enough. When we have somebody that's at a partial in personal volume, when you reach out to them, don't reach out to them and say like, hey, I'm not going to get paid on you if you don't order 100 in personal volume. That's obviously, hopefully none of us would say that, but that's not what we want to say. We want to make it about the customer because it's always about those people for us. We want to say, hey, I noticed you're at 70 in personal volume this month. I don't know if you know this, but if you are at 100 in personal volume, anything above that, you start getting 15% back on your products. Or, hey, I saw that you're at 70, and you want to kind of start with that again, but then say, did you see our new product, MetaBurn? It's amazing. These are the results that my friends have gotten with it. This is what I have experienced with it. Would you like to give it a try? And then that way they're adding something to their regimen that aligns with whatever goals that they have, and then they're more likely to want to order, and then they'll be at 100 in personal volume, and then your order will count for your points for that month. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I've said this, and I'm going to just back up, but people that are your levels 1 through 3 are worth 5 points for you each month. People that are your level 4s are worth 4 points, 5s are worth 3 points, and so on down the line. So when you're going to calculate those points, keep that in as well. Okay, so what am I doing in my back office? So were you wondering specifically about going through this list here? Becky. So I'm going to go through what I looked at here. So I'm scrolling down and I'm seeing all these different names here. When you first click on it and it goes to all levels, they're not in any specific order. So what you can do to get them in order from 1 through 12, if you're looking at everybody in that same screen, is there's across the top, there's a black like line that says their name, their status, their level, their creed level. If you click level twice, I believe, it'll say calculating, and then they'll all be in order. So it's not going to be like a level 1, then a level 2, then a level 8. They'll be level 1 through whatever, however many levels you have on your team. So that way, when I calculate, I know that I'm looking at all of my level 1s right now. So I know they're 5 points. I'm looking at my level 4s, so I know those are going to be 4 points, and so on down the line. And then it's a little bit harder on a phone. It's nice on a computer. You can scroll all the way to the right and you can see it'll say the order date, what the personal volume will be, and always ship if they have a subscription on. If there's nothing underneath subscription, you can see that their subscription is not on. So that's somebody that you'd scroll over, you'd see what their name is, you'd write that name down, and you'd say, hey, I wonder why they haven't turned their subscription on, or I wonder why they turned it off. And then they can be on your list of people that you need to follow up with for the month. Again, like I said, the blue little order thing next to it, you can click on that and it'll tell you what their order was. So that's kind of what I was doing there, if you're wondering specifically. I wish I could screen share. I don't know how to do that, and I don't think there's like a tutorial one without any personal names or anything on it. But maybe that's something to talk to headquarters about. I don't know. Okay, let's see. There's some more questions. I can't get my iPhone 6 to allow me to log in. Well, I'm not sure. I haven't had that problem with my phone specifically. I don't know what to do. If anybody can help, that might be something nice, but I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry. If the customers don't order 100 PB, we don't get 5 points and no commission also. Okay, so if you have 100 in personal volume, you will get commission for the people underneath you. But if your ambassadors that are underneath you, if your wholesale ambassadors, don't call them that, but if your wholesalers do not have 100 in personal volume, they do not count toward your commission for that month. If your customers, the people that are preferred customers or retail, their personal volume doesn't matter quite as much. It'll just add to your own. So that orange number I talked about, it'll add to your own personal volume, and you'll get money back off. Okay, I don't know if anybody else has any questions. I know I covered lots of different stuff. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to your upline because I'm sure that they can help you with that. But I'm really happy that I got to talk to you all tonight. Again, do not base your own worth or your value based on the numbers in your back office. This is just how to calculate it so that you can make sure you're taking ownership of your business. Because remember, no matter if you have 1 or 2 people or 2,000 people or however many people on your team, you are a business owner and you want to make sure that you're providing good customer service, that you're being a good sponsor, and that you're being a good leader for your team by making sure that everybody's subscriptions are going through and nobody's having any issues with it. So I don't think there is anything else I need to cover tonight. If you guys have questions, like I said, go to your upline. And thank you so much for listening. And have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Bye, everybody.